Puff say this party, Playboy, this party right here, I see $1.5 million. I said, what? You spent $1.5 million on this party?
I got a chance to see some things,
right?
And I saw it, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
True. But here's what's crazy: the people at the party. Puff at that time had a room. Missy Elliott had a room. Dun, 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 you know what I'm saying?
I think they never been to a Diddy party. If you not dancing, I just got hot. Then you got to go. So security, if you see somebody and they not dancing, they got to go.
Yeah. I remember watching Puff at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and it's a pool party that is ridiculous, man. And I look up and I see Dr. Ruth.
Diddy is known for being a hip-hop mogul and the owner of the very successful music label Bad Boy Records. But more than his music, he's known for throwing some unbelievable parties. These parties are so bizarre that not a lot of the attendees talk about what happens in them. Luckily, one of these attendees is more than willing to come forth with all the weird stories from Diddy's parties. What did Jamie Foxx see at these parties? And how did he finally manage to escape them? Let's find out.
I think they never been to a Diddy party. If you not dancing, I just got hard. Then you got to go. So security, if you see somebody and they not dancing, they got to go. Period, point blank.
Diddy has made himself an insane amount of fortune thanks to his record company Bad Boy Records. It's how some of the biggest names in the hip-hop world, like the Notorious B.I.G., French Montana, and Machine Gun Kelly. Diddy is a millionaire, and if there's one thing he doesn't mind blowing money on, it's his elaborate and freaky parties.
What's up, Mike? Get a look at it, people. Come on, man. Let's get these ladies over here. Let's do it.
It looks like the one thing Diddy is really passionate about is his parties. He pours all his heart in making sure his parties are unforgettable. Be it birthday bashes on the 4th of July parties, you know that man is going to go all out. His white summer parties are the talk of the town, and everyone wants an invite. Paris Hilton was happy to have been invited to his first white party. I remember the first party he threw in the Hamptons. Paris Hilton tells THR it was iconic and everyone was there. His parties have guest lists that can feature more than 1,000 guests, and these parties come with very strict dress codes, such as the white parties in which everyone must show up dressed in white from head to toe. Martha Stewart was invited to one such party and spoke about how strictly everyone followed these rules. Having an entire party all dressed in white was a stunning sight, says Martha Stewart, a guest at the first party. And it helps that Diddy looked very handsome in white. Considering how dominating and controlling Diddy is known to be, it's not surprising that people are turned away from these parties for showing up in black shoes. That being said, not all his parties can be talked about. Diddy is notorious for holding bizarre and weird parties that not a lot of people can come forth and talk about. But there is one regular guest at Diddy's parties who isn't afraid to talk about all he's seen.
I would show up to the party in my little town car. This town, you know, I grabbed me a town car so I could skirt. Puff the SUVs and the Bentleys.
Of course, these parties are exclusive and fancy and ridiculously expensive. Only a few people are invited to these secret parties, and these people don't have much choice but to show up to these parties. After all, Diddy has made himself an empire in the music industry, and anyone who dares to go against him should just kiss his career goodbye. Diddy doesn't hold back when it comes to spending money on parties, girls, drugs, and alcohol. He will go to any length to have a good time, which is why his secret parties cost millions. He doesn't even try to hide how much money he spends on these outrageous parties. In fact, he himself told Jamie Foxx how much just one of these secret parties cost him.
Well, Puff say this party, Playboy, this party right here, I see $1.5 million. I said, what? You spent $1.5 million on this party?
Diddy's parties cost him a fortune, but they were sure memorable, and mostly not in a good way. For one, Jamie thought these parties were a waste of money. You could have a good time with just $400 instead of spending more than $1 million on a night.
Puff, I'll throw you a party for $400. That will rival this party.
Diddy was offered that Jamie would insinuate he was stupid for spending so much on a single party, but he quickly got over the jab. In fact, the next time he was in town, he asked Jamie to arrange a party of his own.
Well, I got Kentucky Fried Chicken. I put it in a nice plate. I said I got Coca-Cola. I put it in a pitcher. We're at $208 and we are killing it right now.
Jamie had to go to all these parties that Diddy hosted because Diddy was a music mogul and Jamie needed a breakthrough.
And I was trying to get in music at that time, so I would throw parties for a reason because Puff was so famous with music.
Obscene amount of money wasn't the only problem with these parties. In fact, it was the least of the problems. Some bizarre things were going on at these parties. It seems like Diddy used these parties to act out his sexual fantasies.
And Tupac was like a couple, seemed like to me. It was just a lot of weird shit going on, you know what I'm saying?
In public, Diddy has always been a straight family man. He has beautiful kids and a late wife who he seems to love very much. But in these secret parties, he is a completely different man. He was seen with Tupac acting like a couple. Diddy might never openly admit that he's gay, but he doesn't necessarily try to hide it either. In fact, oftentimes his parties end in rather bizarre ways. His ex-bodyguard had quite a few stories to tell about Diddy's sexual adventures. After one such party, Gene found Diddy naked with another young rapper in a hotel room. Gene recalls finding them both like this, and Diddy didn't seem to bother that Gene saw it all.
Puff looked at Ja. He said, yo, Ja said, you ain't want to go in that room because there's a lot of freaking going on.
Tupac isn't the only prominent man he's been linked with at these parties. In fact, there's a whole list of male rappers he seemed to have tried to get with. Some of these people were not afraid to come forward and talk about Diddy's advances. The most surprising person in this list is none other than 50 Cent. No one would ever imagine that Diddy would hit on 50 Cent. But apparently, even 50 Cent wasn't safe from Diddy's advances. 50 Cent recalls this story in a rather funny way, saying,
And he was like, yo, so when we gonna get the chance to, to kick it, like we could just hang out. We gotta kick it. This is Puff. Okay. He telling me we gotta kick it. And he was like, yo, why don't we go shopping? I mean, I pay for it. And I was like, this just saying.
Diddy is famous for taking his flings shopping. So when he asked 50 Cent this, the poor rapper was visibly taken aback. Well, you're yet to hear the worst of it. At least 50 Cent was an adult that could easily turn down Diddy's advances because there was someone else who couldn't. Usher was sent to live with Diddy as his mentor before his first album when he was just 14 years old. Some really concerning videos have since emerged that make Diddy look like a complete monster.
He used to wake up and, pause, but just back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the frosted flakes.
Diddy had been sharing a bed with Usher when he was just 10. There were speculations that Diddy's ex-wife, Kim Porter, revealed in her book the truth about Diddy and Usher's creepy sexual relationship, and that Usher's mom had realized the truth and confronted Diddy. Not just this, Diddy also introduced Usher to all sorts of things at 14 years of age, be it addictions or girls or sex. Ed Lover recalls the time he went to a club and found a teenage boy drinking in Diddy's company.
And I look to my right, and there's a kid standing there drinking champagne.
This kid turned out to be none other than Usher. It's clear that Diddy doesn't mind exposing even children to all sorts of unacceptable things at these parties. Usher now realizes how inappropriate Diddy's behavior was when he was just a little kid. He even said he would never make his own kids go through that sort of stuff as he did.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
There's also rumors that what happens in these crazy parties is also the reason Kim Porter got murdered. Apparently, she had video footage of all the illegal and bizarre activities that go on in Diddy's parties. If these videos ever came to light, Diddy's empire would come crumbling down. So Diddy sacrificed Kim to keep his secrets. It's clear that not a lot of people are lucky enough to escape Diddy's wild parties and live to tell the tale. Drugs, alcohol, and sex is a staple in Hollywood parties. But what exactly goes on here is that the people used to parties of this sort are also taken aback when they attend anything Diddy hosts. Even though Diddy takes a lot of videos at his parties, hardly anything ever comes out. Could something even more sinister be at play? After all, why would Diddy sacrifice his ex-wife if things weren't as bad as we imagined? Jamie Foxx has managed to escape these brutal sex parties. Hopefully, he'll reveal the truth soon so that new rappers can protect themselves and stay away from Diddy's parties. People completely believe that Diddy has some secrets he would very much like to keep in the dark. Well, his sexuality is one such secret. One Redditor wrote, "There's a lot of evidence, and I believe it. There's a video with him and Kevin Hart and Usher where it looks like a dildo is in the bed and Diddy says some questionable things about him and Usher. Kevin said a little too much. There's also rumors of what he made artists do to get a deal, which I think is standard in the industry." That's it for today, folks. Until next time, goodbye.